My parents immigrated to the US in 1955 with 3 shared dollars and the quintessential American dream. My mom, Anne, was born in Indonesia to an Indonesian mother and a German father, and she lived a charmed life on the island of Java until World War II ended that. She was an orphan, and at the age of 7, she entered an orphanage. For 5 years of her delicate childhood, she lived in an orphanage that was converted to a concentration camp by the Japanese occupiers there. She suffered starvation, physical abuse. She even lost all of her teeth. But fast forward many years later, and my mom raised her 3 daughters with joy and optimism. My dad, Ben, was born and raised in Amsterdam, where he and his family survived the German occupation. Times were tough, oh man. But following World War II, there was an economic boom, and countries such as the US were experiencing a shortage of technicians. My dad was well equipped with the Dutch technical education. America needed him. After immigrating, he worked for Bank of America for over 30 years, fixing anything that was broken, until a robust pension dictated his retirement. My parents taught me that if you work hard and get a good education, America is the land of opportunity, a land of abundance, a land that rewards innovation and ingenuity, a land that I love. My parents also taught me that surviving, much less living the American dream, is a precious gift that we should not take for granted. In my role as president of a community college in Nevada, with annual enrollments of about 12,000, I've heard the dreams of many young people. They want a good job, good health care, good technology, and good money. They echo the sentiment of historian James Treslow Adams, who in 1931 was credited with popularizing the phrase American dream when he wrote that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller. Better, richer, fuller. And yet, when I speak with executives and employers, they caution that the economy that has supported American prosperity and American dreams is changing radically. We are on the verge of an era that will startle those of us born in the 20th century. Robotics, AI, and automation is about to catapult to a whole new level worldwide. And without a plan, American prosperity is at risk. Some say that this will lead to a workforce shrinkage, sort of like they told us internet and email would make our lives so much easier. Yeah, right. Or in 2017, when Elon Musk expressed serious concern that the scariest problem is that robots can do virtually everything better than humans and will quickly replace us. But in 2018, the college that I lead had to work very, very fast to help train thousands of new employees for new jobs at, you guessed it, Tesla. Let's just say Elon, one of my very special heroes, owes me lunch. When you really think about it, new technology has tended to create more jobs, not fewer. That's the beauty of American ingenuity and the beauty of our desire to keep the dream alive. But if we fail to question a hidden assumption, I believe that we will not meet the workforce challenge, and American companies will lose in a highly competitive global robotics, AI, and automation economy. The hidden assumption that aging equals incompetence will ruin us if we let it. And here's why. The US Department of Health and Human Services projects that by 2040, 1 in 5 adults in America will be over the age of 65. And even though there's a lot of buying power in this segment of our population, and the longevity economy is massive, many in that same segment are living on the brink of poverty. The exponential growth of seniors over the age of 65 in the US is already leading to an over-reliance on government-funded services, including housing and health care. One Economic Policy Institute study from 2016 revealed that nearly half of American families have no retirement savings at all. Another study calculated that even among families nearing retirement age, the average savings was $14,500. That is not enough. What happens when 1 in 5 Americans, many with little to no savings and a small Social Security check, are put out to pasture at the same time that American companies are attempting to pivot to a highly competitive global robotics, AI, and automation economy? How will we manage a growing number of Americans living in poverty and the problems of poverty, homelessness, untreated chronic illness, and despair? Have we become so comfortable in our American lifestyles that we think we'll just roll along happily, even among one of the most extraordinary economic disruptions of our lifetime? Will the American dream become the American nightmare? Age, much like race, is a social construct, an invisible agreement, if you will, based on norms and rooted in tradition. And as others before me have said, tradition is defined as peer pressure from dead people. To say that someone becomes professionally incompetent on their 62nd birthday is just plain stupid. Science tells us that our bodies will weaken with age, but a new emphasis in America on good nutrition and health is prolonging our American lives. How a person chooses to live their life, including how they tend for the life of the body and the life of the mind, is unique to each person, right? Studies from Stanford Center on Longevity have shown that some abilities actually improve in later years, such as the ability to balance one's emotions and the ability to view a problem from multiple viewpoints. And yet when I turned 50, I noticed more and more in professional settings that my multiple viewpoints were simply glossed over. And I thought to myself, am I the invisible woman now that I'm 50? And for those of you who are nowhere near 50, good luck navigating this surreal reality. And don't get me wrong, some folks need to retire before the age of 62 because, frankly, they refuse to change or they don't know how to change when change is absolutely necessary. And some folks want to retire, and they can afford to do so. My message today relates to those of us who love our work as much as our play, whose minds are sharp and whose bodies are, well, good enough. Aging is as individualized as the unique DNA strands that comprise our physical human forms, and as individualized as the life experiences that shape our optimism. The challenge for American companies is changing the conversation about aging. We know that many jobs are disappearing. Back in 2017, the McKinsey Global Institute predicted that up to 73 million jobs in the US will be eliminated due to robotics. But we also know that new jobs requiring creativity, technical skill, and wisdom are emerging. Loop Ventures, a venture capital firm, predicts that the industrial robotics market will grow by 175%. Harnessing the power of robotics and AI to help us solve some of the world's most terrifying problems will lead to new jobs that we can't even imagine. That would be like trying to imagine the transition from the horse and buggy industry to the thousands of employees needed to make Teslas. And do you think the buggy driver could imagine the driverless Tesla? We are also entering the age of cobots, robots that work alongside humans. To make a bot world work, we will need many professionals to assist with human and bot alignment. We will need many coders, both creative and routine, and we will need technicians, at least initially, to support the robotics hardware market. If ageism is allowed to persist, corporate executives will complain, we can't find enough workers. They're doing that right now. Meanwhile, the 62-year-old who's capable of working and who wants to work will be sitting at home struggling to pay the heating bills. This makes no sense. In the age of robotics, ageism needs to stop. Transforming our social construct about aging can lead to a clear plan that manages the intersections between a growing number of older Americans and a growing number of new jobs in this new economy. American companies need to embrace a multi-generational workforce where the wisdom of the older worker enriches the tech-savvy creativity of the younger ones. And by embrace, I'm not just talking about retaining workers over the age of 62. I'm speaking directly to those of you in the position to hire to not write off qualified job seekers because of one socially constructed reason. They look too old. Granted, America's younger job seekers grew up in a world of instantaneous connections, and they can cast wide connective nets in visual and creative ways. And some of this technology can be daunting to a person my age who grew up in a household with one telephone, a landline on a curly cord in the kitchen where mom and dad could hear every word between me and my boyfriend. Let's just say we had compelling privacy concerns back in the day too. But America's mature worker, we understand that instantaneous connection does not replace relationships. Relationships that can take years to develop, not just days or months, and relationships that buoy business. America's mature worker, also, we've seen companies make painful and costly mistakes. And with our agile capacity, we can steer companies away from repeating them. The upshot is this: ageism is dumb and unproductive. There can be no room in America's future for the social isolation of young, middle, and older adults, especially if we expect American businesses to keep a global leading edge in a highly competitive robotics, AI, and automation economy. The American dream lives here among us, right now. Let's not take our comfort and prosperity for granted. I want to honor the legacy and hard work of folks like my parents. Join me in celebrating the talent and wisdom that both young and old bring, and let us transform the American workplace.